What is something illegal in Europe but not in the US? Pharmaceutical companies marketing directly to consumers. In Germany you can't promote the Nazis. In the US you can. Washing eggs before they are sold in stores. In Denmark we can't just name our babies anything we want. We have approved names list to pick from. We can request a name that is not on the list but it rarely gets approved. Allowing your employees 0 paid sick leaves. People should really state a country in their comments since laws vary a lot from country to country. A lot of different food additives are legal in the USA that have been banned in Europe for years. Bathing a dead chicken in bleach before you sell it for human consumption. In the UK at least, showing footage from Parliament in a comedy show. More specifically, no extracts from parliamentary proceedings may be used in comedy shows or other light entertainment such as political satire. I only learned that when I tried to watch an episode of The Daily Show that was blocked in the UK for that reason. US comedy shows can show Congress all they want. In France and Denmark, burqa and niqab are banned. Not here. I live in a city that has strong population of immigrants from Muslim countries. So, I'll occasionally see a woman covered up. But it's very, very rare. Mostly it's just the hijab. And for the most part, their American-born kids go without anything. Still, the option is there. Ritz crackers are banned in Switzerland. They will never know how tasty it can be to smear a little peanut butter on one and pop the whole thing in your mouth. Cutting a dog's tail off. Brahmin at vegetable oil. Some countries are quite a bit more strict on speech. The food coloring for Skittles and Mountain Dew. It's yellow 5. Mishandling consumers' personal data. See GDPR-info.eu. I mean Europe is a big place with many countries, I'll assume you mean countries in the EU. A lot of food additives that are allowed in the US are not allowed in EU countries because they are nor considered safe enough. Firing employees without cause. High fructose corn syrup. Edit, I stand corrected. While it, HFCS, isn't banned specifically in any country, the UK and some European countries have restricted the products and placed them under quota limitations. Selling something below the price you bought it for, with the intention to sabotage other businesses. E.g. Walmart tried to do this in Germany to destroy their rivals, but they failed miserably and completely retreated out of Germany. Being a cop and gunning down people as you please as long as you feared for your life face with diagonal mouth. Certain food ingredients. Europe is a big continent with lots of countries with different laws. Well, Colorado just made it legal to grow psychedelic mushrooms in your own home. Cute little pink assault rifles for kids heart-sued. Pharmaceutical companies advertising to consumers, US and New Zealand are the only two developed countries that allow it. Not having a work break after 6 hours. The US has constitutionally protected freedom of speech. There is no legally recognized definition of hate speech in the US. In Europe, it is illegal to use mobile phones while driving, whereas in the US, the law varies from state to state. Some states have banned texting while driving, but not all states have made it illegal to use a mobile phone while driving. Maybe it's petty. But I have to admit, I consider it rather amusing that in all likelihood, this was posted by someone American who was searching for something that America does better, some metric by which they can say but here is a way America lives up to its nickname as the land of the brave. And the answers are all things like in Europe, you can't advertise prescription drugs on telly. In Europe, it's a criminal offense to openly support Nazis. In Europe, you're not allowed to deny employees sick days. You can't fire someone for no reason. You can't name your child an obscenity. Etc. etc. Things like employee protections. Environmental protections. That sort of thing. Artificially jacking up prices of things only to then put them on sale when the sale price is really just the always intended price. All kinds of bullshit ingredients and dyes in foods that are bad for you and should be banned in the US. Shooting children in schools. Snus is illegal to sell in most of Europe. Displaying far-right symbols. Get at me. But it looks like mass shootings are semi-legal in the States from the sheer number of times they occur. Just an observation from a non-American. Believing the Holocaust didn't happen is a crime in some European countries. Various ingredients found in lollies/sweets/candy E.G. titanium dioxide. There are tighter restrictions on food production in Europe resulting in American companies having to alter their recipes so they can be sold in European countries. Turning right at a red light. Overtaking on the right on highways, in places that drive on the right. Most European countries have the outermost lanes on multi-lane highways be the slow lane and you can only overtake on a more inner lane than the vehicle you are overtaking. Unless there is a traffic jam or very slow movement with stop-and-go traffic. Driving on the wrong side of the road and killing someone apparently. Being a Nazi, at least in Germany. England, it is an offense to handle a fish suspiciously. A lot of chemicals/ingredients used in food, if you look at the ingredients between the same products between the US and the EU you'll see a stark difference. Breaking spaghetti for cooking. Shooting people. It amazes me that people from the USA assume that a continent comprising over 40 countries has a universal legal system. So in answer to your question, absolutely nothing. Red, blue, yellow, green dye. They care, our government doesn't. In Australia, but the only big thing I can think of is more strict gun control, and that's fine. Some of the shit we eat, no wonder we're so unhealthy. Guns. Guns, guns, guns. Firing someone on the spot without a notice period. Right turn on red. My personal favorite is when the heart medicine that destroys your kidneys has another one immediately after that fixes your kidney issues but messes with your heart. It depends on the country. Romania has that shit and I hate it. Every other commercial is a pill advertisement. That's only for prescription medicine, not for over-the-counter medicines. In Spain, OTC stuff can be, and it is directly advertised to customers. Prescription drugs, fortunately, are not. Those ads kill me. Fucatol will help ease the pain of a hangnail. Side effects may include a bleeding anus, neon-colored urine, hair loss, depression, and watery eyes. Do not take Fucatol if you're between the ages of 18 and 74, if you're breastfeeding, or if you're a New York Islanders fan. Call your doctor and find out if Fucatol is right for you. Same in Australia. But our neighbor, New Zealand, has ads for prescription drugs. Same in the UK. Medicines that you can just go into a shop and pick up off the shelf, like cold and flu remedies, basic painkillers, etc. We have prescription drugs advertised on the subway here in Toronto, Canada, but the ads aren't allowed to say what they're for. Do not take Fucatol if you're allergic to Fucatol. Fucitrol can do harm to an unborn child. Don't F if you're taking Fucitrol. Fucitrol may or may not contain cancer-causing chemicals. We don't know and we don't care. Every other commercial here is for funerals. Great if you are watching with an 82-year-old. Fine people, according to one US president. Yes, and unfortunately, here in the USA, we are misusing the word Nazi as well. I find it very disrespectful. Seriously, the other day, here on Reddit, someone said workers at Panda Express are shrimp Nazis. It's not cool, and I know German people personally, who are offended by the misuse of the word. In the same section on offenses against dignity, simple insult, defamation, slander, and libel are criminal offenses in the Netherlands. But you have to go quite far to, criminally, insult a Dutchman by international standards, I think. In Romania, communist parties, socialist parties are allowed as long as they don't use communist signs, are banned, while parties that promote legionarism/fascism/got-a-b-n are for Ziliakotaranu are allowed. And Kanye. Yeah, I'm German and I find that funny, assuming it was not meant as an insult and just means they really like their shrimps. As a German, I wouldn't do it myself, since I think my heritage requires some extra effort and respect when it comes to stuff like that. But when one of the countries that defeated the Nazis back then doesn't take it too seriously in every aspect of life, I find it quite refreshing. Beyond that, I would leave judgment about the distastefulness of those jokes to the children of the victims and not the children of the perpetrators. But when it would be up to me, please continue doing stuff like that. youtube.com/watch, v=sac_bcjatq and amp, _channel equals Thomas Long, youtube.com/watch v=sac_bcjatq amp _channel equals Thomas Lane. What? So I have a question. I'm in the US, and a former workmate has chickens as a hobby and gives away the eggs, unwashed. They are in the carton and obviously straight from the nest, because there's all sorts of particles of an output nature on the eggs. Do the European eggs that are unwashed have particulate matter on the eggs? Do you wash them before you use them, like fruits and vegetables? Where do European people keep their eggs? Do they pop them in the fridge once they buy them, or do they go in the cupboard with the cereal, etc.? Washing eggs before selling. Washing eggs before sale is prohibited in most EU countries. In the USA, it is mandatory that all eggs are cleaned by a strict process before commercial sale. I was watching a video explaining why Europeans don't do this. I don't remember the specifics, but the idea was that when the egg is laid, it has a special coating on it that prevents bacteria from growing on it. When you wash the egg, that coating is removed, which fosters the growth of bacteria. This is why American eggs need to be refrigerated but European eggs don't. Selling where, though? And GT, selling where, though? In stores. In Europe. The washing, as I understand it, can cause bacteria to get into the eggs, which is why US eggs must be refrigerated but other countries don't. Kind of, yes. The washing damages/removes a thin film that protects the egg. After the washing, the eggs have to be dried and refrigerated, because if condensation would form on the eggs, bacteria could enter the egg due to the shell being porous. Both systems are similarly effective at keeping bacteria out, so it's pretty much a distinction without a difference, unlike many incongruities between the US and Europe. Except that one method is more expensive in needing to use electricity to keep the eggs cool, water to wash the eggs, and extra labor costs to handle the eggs before and after washing. And also requires the consumer to take up space in their refrigerator, and is anti-poor because it effectively prohibits people who can't afford a fridge from buying healthy eggs. Patriarchy and misogyny muthaf AAAA. Asterisk. Big Red. And GT, patriarchy and misogyny. Ah yes, the classic, we just opened up a single-use packet of buzzwords. These last few don't have anything to do with this situation, but we might as well put them in anyway because we don't want them to go to waste. And AMP, hashtag X200B. I'm surprised you left out racism. Don't know what most people do, but as far as I know it's not necessary to wash them before use. As long as you avoid any contact between content and the outside of the shell, at least if you're going to consume it uncooked, you're good. Run them under the tap, yeah, if you're worried about dropping chicken shit in your omelette. Don't dip it in bleach or anything silly like that. Yes. So the chicken eggs have a protective layer on them called the bloom. As long as that layer is still intact, the eggs do not require refrigeration. Japan experienced a salmonella outbreak and I can't remember if that's why the United States does it or not, but both countries have switched over to a cleaning method along with refrigeration. There is a chance of matter being on the eggs, yes, but in Europe if your egg aren't up to a standard they will be rejected because nobody wants to buy dirty eggs. People won't wash them because you don't consume the shell. I am in Scotland and just keep our eggs in the cupboard. In Australia, we keep them on the kitchen bench. With the butter. I don't put them in the fridge, we keep them in the cupboard and they don't go bad any faster than if they were to be cooled. Yes, we put it in the fridge. I'm from Denmark and I don't know if other EU countries do the same. Ours go in a ceramic hen on the shelf. Usually on the counter or in the cupboard. I'm French. I used to keep them in the fridge because of small apparutement. Now I just keep tigem with the cereals and stuff. Just leave them beside the bread bin. England here, usually on the side, they don't last long in my house. My friend kept rescue hens and had a spiral egg holder on the counter so you eat the eggs in the order they were laid. Put eggs in the top, take an egg from the bottom and they all roll down a position. I'm in Australia, we keep them in the fridge. With the butter. I'm in the fridge, we keep them in the butter. With Australia. We're pretty much the only EU country with that requirement. Our rules for food safety is much stricter than pretty any other country in the world. Keep eggs in the fridge increases food safety. See, dnaag.dk/vdn-om-aeg/aeg-og-hold-brd. Eggs are to be kept at between 5 and 12 degrees Celsius. I'm from Ireland and we keep